outfit or your platform has found it very important to talk about this topic.
Thank you.
To talk about the launched national policy on population for sustainable development by Mr. President, which demonstrates his commitment and that of this government to issues that concerns the people of Nigeria. Everything starts and ends with a policy, with the people of Nigeria. Whatever we're doing is anchored, is central to the people of Nigeria, from the cradle to the grave. So the population policy is the people-centered policy that addresses every issue that has to do with every Nigerian. So by estimate, the population of 2006 said we were 140 million at the point of census. And by international standard, and within the field of demography, every 10 years, countries are expected to conduct a fresh census to be able to determine whether their fertility is growing or is reducing.
Yes.
And by that, we now know that we are about 16 years deficit after the last census.
Absolutely.
But by estimates, and thereafter an actual census, what we do as demographers is to do some projections using annual growth rates. And with that, Nigeria's population annual growth rate currently is estimated at 2.6 per annum. And that puts us as 216 million as of today. So Nigeria's population is growing. But to really establish the extent of growth, and particularly the age structure of the population, we need to hold another census as soon as possible.
Well, I would totally agree with you. I would agree with you on the census, but you see that door creaking behind you is quite very distracting. Is it possible to have some quiet in the background? Is that possible? I understand you're still at the office, but if you could have the doors stay shut.
I'm going to shift. I will shift my base. Go on talking. I know my colleagues are coming in and out of the office.
Yes.
So
it's a bit
distracting me.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
thank you. All right.
I'm moving away from distraction.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, you've touched on a very important aspect of our conversation today. I'm sure you can hear me, which is about census. I mean, like you rightly said, we're 16 years behind schedule. The Constitution even says that we should have a census every 10 years. So why don't we simply have another census? Why are we working with estimates? Okay, now I guess that noisy place might be where the best connection was, because now the connection isn't so good. Okay, so let's talk about population control. We're just diving deep into this conversation. I hope that this network fixes itself and she gets back here in time. In the meantime, I'm coming over to you guys. 0700 993 993 993. The burden of population control in many countries of the world, including Nigeria, is usually dropped on the shoulders of women, and that's where we're going. In the first place, do you think that Nigeria needs to control its population? Do we have too high a fertility rate in Nigeria? Do you believe such? If you do tell me when you call. Okay, I think she's back here now. Let's see. Let's try it here. All right, let me talk to you some more. Hello?
Hello, Wemimo, my sister.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Ekene calling.
Thanks for calling, Ekene.
Can you hear me?
To me personally, in this opinion issue, if I'm being honest with you, I don't see any sense of this. Do you know why?
Yeah,
I'm seeing it in the angle of a parents running away from responsibility, and they are looking for bad cause. Why are we here? Why are we talking about this? We are talking about this because there's a property in the land. So the question now is that why there is property in the land? Because of the government or the leaders have failed their responsibility and provide for their citizens. If there is infrastructure, if there is good road and good hospitals and there's good education, you don't need to tell a parent who's dedicated to know how many kids you should be having. That is the truth. For me, now, I know how many kids I have and go to trade. So I think the government is failing around for their responsibility. They should know why there's a property fund. They should fix it. And if the things are working perfectly, things will get right.
All right.
I can't imagine the US saying that they want to control the citizens because the things are working perfectly there.
Right.
So
Thank
if
you.
them can think that it's property in the land, and the only way they thought that they can't be making up that the 10 Nigerians have been going to born. For example, do you know that if you cannot be 3-1? Talking so true. So
Thank you very much.
I seen a father run away from responsibility.
All right. Many thanks for calling. Let's take one more call and then I return to my guest. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Ferdinand.
Yeah, please go ahead, Ferdinand.
The population control is a very crucial thing we have to do. For instance, we have to take a lead from China. Most of the things we do in this country, we borrow from China. China put a population policy, 1 man, 1 child. I think it was around 1970 something. The last was 30 years. 1 man, 1 child, and that policy stood in China.
Okay. So you want us to copy the same, yeah?
Whether you're a billionaire, is 1 man, 1 child.
All right. Many thanks. I'm back to my guests on the line now. Ms. Margaret is here. Now, we're talking about the census. Like you rightly put it, Nigeria is way behind having another census. Why don't we have a census? Why exactly are we working with estimates? What is the problem? What's stopping us? You're here to tell us that.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I would say that the having a census on a regular basis, let's say every 10 years, for countries requires a legislation. Countries that you see do their census regularly are countries that have regulation. Until we have a legislation that backs up or supports that we take census every 10 years, then until then we will be having staggering periods of census. I'll give you an example of the election. The election is constitutional. Whether we have money or not, we must conduct election because it's in our constitution. So until we have taking census as a constitutional issue, we'll still have this problem. If you walk into the U.S. Census Bureau, on top of the building, you will see the act that established how their censuses should be taken and the number of that constitution in their legislation. So that is the problem.
You mean that we do not
Taking
have a
of
legislation?
census-
We do not have a legislation that
No, we don't have it.
mandates Nigeria to hold a census every 10 years.
We don't have it. We don't have it in our constitution.
So we have
Until
left
we have that.
we have left it to the whims and the caprices of the government to decide if they have the capacity or they're willing to hold the census.
Actually, it's not the capacity, it's the money, it's the funding.
Yeah, but that's
So-
capacity. I mean, if you don't have money,
It's the funding because taking census is a huge activity. It's a huge program that involves, and it happens within a very short period of time, but it engulfs money. So given the state of our economy and the challenges that we face across the country, so it's not that the government would not like to conduct a census. After all, Mr. President had put money in the just approved budget for the conduct of this census. So, but most times, it's funding that usually affects taking. But what we are working at now, as a government agency, is to see that we put that in our constitution. And immediately we do that, we won't have the problem of not doing our census every 10 years.
Now, we hear that like you rightly mentioned now, that the president has put some money, he has budgeted for having a census this year. Now, you are the one who would carry out, if there's going to be a census, it's coming from your table. Are we having a census in Nigeria this year? When is it happening?
Okay, I will not be able to give you answer to that particular question. I would leave that question to be responded to by my chairman. The chairman of National Population Commission should be able to give you that specificity that you are requesting.
Okay, if we don't have a specific date, but do we know for certain that there is going to be a census this year? Remember that a census is not just about numbers. It helps with developmental planning as well as election planning, and we have elections coming up next year. So are we certain? I mean, we're in February. If there will be a census this year, we would have an idea. So should Nigerians hope for a census this year?
Yes, there will be a census this year. Definitely, there will be a census this year.
Perfect. Now let's go on to talk about the numbers. I mean, I've asked you earlier on if you believe that we're overpopulated, and you seem to think that we are overpopulated. Now, what is a strategy that would be deployed by this policy in managing fertility rate and as well as population numbers rapidly growing in Nigeria?
Okay, I would draw your attention or remind you to the speech of the president, where he spoke about the importance of expanding access to family planning, to counseling, to commodities that will facilitate bed spacing and will enable women to have children when they want to have those children. So one of the key issues is to expand access to family planning, to counseling, as well as making sure that women who would want to space their children have access to those commodities everywhere. And they could make choices, not just having access, but that access should go with choices. So there must be a wide range of commodities for them to choose that which they want. So for me, for Mr. President to put that in his speech, demonstrate the commitments of Mr. President and this government to make sure that we give attention to issues of family planning and bed spacing.
All right. Now, here's a bus stop I've been waiting for us to get to. And that's, I talked about this in the introduction, the speech of the president. I read it out to the people. Now, I think you might tell me if you believe differently, that we have misplaced priorities in terms of fertility control. And that's that we place the burden of fertility control on women. Now, remember that in our culture, it is quite popular to have a man have multiple female partners, have multiple wives. And so in that sense, even if you reduce the number of children a woman can have, if we do not target the man as to how many children he should have, possibly by legislation, by contraceptions or whatever, we would have missed the point. To help you understand where I'm going, one of our lawmakers currently boasted on the floor of the National Assembly of having 28 children. Well, don't take my word for it. Let me play you that audio so you can listen to it yourself. Hold on, and just hear this.
The first decision that they took was to still decide to maintain the suspension of Burkina Faso from all ECOWAS institutions, to reaffirm the condemnation of this coup d'etat. And they also requested the immediate release of President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore, release without condition.
No, apologies, that's the wrong one.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to let you know that with me today here are my 4 respected wives. Halima can stand up, please. 1. Uma, stand up. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these 4 wives you have seen have produced 27 kids for me, and I'm still counting.
Well, he is still counting. Well, that right there was a majority leader of the House, who, by the way, celebrated the birth of his 28th child this January. He is the majority leader of the House of Reps, Al-Hassan Ado-Doguwa. Now, if we say that we want to control population and a man can still have multiple wives, can still have multiple children, do you think this will be effective?
That was also referred to yesterday when I appear on AIT, saying we're drawn attention to it. when the issue of managing of you don't really control fertility because practicing of family planning is voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is that we moderate, we manage our fertility to moderate our population growth. So initially, when the issue of addressing family planning started, it was focused on women.
Please, I apologize. I need to hold you on for a minute and jump off on a very quick advert break. When I come back, I'll let you address that question some more. This is Glass Ceiling on Nigeria Info. We'll be right back. 3 Nigeria Info. My name is Wemimo Adewuni, and today we're considering the plan by the federal government to control or manage Nigeria's population growth. I have with me in the studio here someone from the National Population Commission. She's precisely the one in charge of population management. She's a director of population management, Margaret Edison. Thank you very much for joining us again on the show. If you can hear me. Okay, mic is muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, before the break, I played you an audio which is credited to the House of Reps Majority Leader Alhassan Adodoguwa, who prided himself on having a target of 30 children before he leaves by next year. So how do we achieve managing population growth if men are not targeted for family planning, or if there's no legislation to tell them, oh, you can't have more than this number of children?
Okay, I will start by reminding Nigerians that in 1988, when we had the first population policy during late Professor Ransom Kuti, was the Minister of Health, and then we have during President Babangida at that time, we had the first population policy. That policy was very specific on the number of children, but Nigerians said we didn't want anybody to control, to peg the number of children, and that policy was kind of redundant. So that was a lesson we learned, that we should not peg the number of children in any population policy. That is why family planning is voluntary. But also, I would like to emphasize that this current revised national population policy just launched by Mr. President, that is one of the objectives of this policy, to speak to our people, to raise their value system on issue of quality over quantity of children. He is one of those Nigerians that we need to preach to, we need to evangelize to. We need to tell Nigerians, like I said on Monday, Nigeria belongs to the community of nations. Yes, it's good that we are many, but when we are many, we should be many to the extent that we are useful to ourselves and to our country.
So do you think that the problem is about the numbers, the number of people that we have, or that there are no enabling structures for the population to thrive? There are countries, Nigeria is not the most populated country in the world. We're 7th, arguably so, but there are countries who have more population than we do, and they're doing far better than we are. Their citizens have better access to developmental facilities than we do in Nigeria. So isn't it, like one of the callers said earlier on, possibly a failure of government to address developmental issues rather than turn the table and say you citizens have to fix it?
Yeah, I would like to situate my conversation within the revised policy, because we really have a lot of provisions to that.
Okay.
And one of that provision is education, educating our children. When our children go to school, particularly the girl child, and have the minimum of a completed secondary school level, you don't need to tell her how to manage herself. She will know when to marry. She will decide who to marry. She will decide the number of children she would wish to have. She will know how to space our children. So one of the things that we are focusing on is education, key. When people are well educated, when people are informed, when people's value system improves. That's why Mr. President emphasized on improving the quality of life and standard of living of the people. It starts from education.
All right, I get the education. I get the education part.
When we are educated,
yes,
and when we are educated, we come out, we have something to do, whether in the formal sector or in the formal sector. We earn a decent income. We are able to take care of our immediate needs. Then we will be able to contribute to the economic growth. We'll be able to have a kind of life that we desire. I know to an extent, probably the social structure, the social system may not meet up. That is why we have the policy. Like
so
I said,
isn't that putting practically putting the
no,
cart before the horse? I mean, that's the question. I mean, I understand that there might be a need to adjust the population to, move on to be at par with what Nigeria can afford, quote unquote. But isn't it a better step, first of all, to fix the developmental issues we have, improve the lives and standards of living of people, and then that will automatically reflect in population control, rather than create a policy without fixing the immediate issues. Remember that one of the good things I like about this revised policy is that it looks at education. But then, if we talk about education and we do not fix the primary issues of standards of living, inflation, these are all interwoven, and I hope that your agency is working with other ministries to look at how these issues overlap.
Yeah, one of the things the policy intends to achieve is that to move Nigeria from a child-based population to a youthful population that contains more working age population than the mouth that fits on it. When you have many children, your income may not be enough to feed those children. You will not have enough to feed them, and you will not have enough to save. So all your income will go to the children. So the dependency ratio currently is high to the working age population. And that is why we have the population policy to address all of this, to address the population size, particularly the population age structure. Over 70% of our population are below the age of 30.
Yes.
And you know what that means. So we have many mouths to feed than the people that bring the money to feed them. So we want to see us moving away from the child-based population to a working age, a productive population.
Okay, I hear that. My phone lines are buzzing. So yes. I hear that. And I would agree with you on that. Increasing the working, the age group that are working is better for the economy. That's acceptable. However, if we don't have a firm policy that says, all right, per family, don't have more than 4 children. If you're just advising people, quote unquote, if you're educating them, remember that like I insinuated earlier, we've got culture, and then we have religion. For instance, in Nigeria, Islam is one of the most populous religions right here, and arguably it allows a man, according to interpretations here, to have 4 wives and multiple children. So how do you interface this advice to Nigerians if it's not a firm policy that says don't have more than 2, don't have more than 3, don't have more than 4? If you only leave it to the people to decide, would this policy be effective?
Like I told you, family planning is voluntary. It's voluntary. But we intend working with everybody, including you, the media, to lead on this march, to educate our people, to speak to our people, to change their orientation from having many children to having children that they can manage, because the family structure have changed. We don't have uncles and aunties that are prepared to take care of your children for you. They are your sole responsibility. That's why we emphasize in this policy purposeful family planning, like it is done in Rwanda, where you look at yourself, you look at what is existing within your society, and you advise yourself. So we want to work on the mind, the thinking, the value system of our people using the policy, working with the civil society organization, with the media leading the march. So using the traditional rulers, using the religious leaders to speak to our people.
All right, I hear you.
Things have changed.
Okay,
the world has changed.
I agree with that.
So we have to change.
I totally agree with that. One more thing I need to mention, you have to see my phone lines here. People really want to talk to you. Is that Nigeria has missed our target. We had a family planning target to increase access to contraceptives by 2022. This is 2022. We have failed to bring in the 12 more million girls that we had in the plan. So again, my fear is that although this plan might have what some would call good intentions, I'm not certain about how practical the policy is in terms of actually controlling or managing our population. Because again, in Nigeria, culture, religion is a very, very strong force. But let me go on to the phone lines now. It's 0700 993 993 993. Female callers 014657190. If you want to join us outside of Nigeria, you can call us on Skype. Oh no, you cannot call us on Skype because I'm on a call on Skype. Okay, so just make do with Twitter, Facebook, where we're live, and YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. I'd also try to go over there and read from WhatsApp. Let's talk. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Wemimo. How are you?
I'm all right.
I'm going to try and be really fast.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Let me just say this. You see, I'm happy that the lady is talking about education, but you see, it is something called patriotism that will make people bow to your goals. Your dreams. No matter how educated these people are, as you and I are speaking, they are educated people in the Senate, in National Assembly, right?
Yeah.
But it has something to do with patriotism for you to actually care about what will happen to somebody else's child or what will happen to your children in 20, 30 years' time.
Yeah.
That is not education that will bring that about. The second thing, which is the last thing I want to talk about, is that she says she works directly with the chairman. I would like to recommend that we don't have to have our census on a certain day or during a certain week. We can stagger it for the whole year.
Yeah.
Break it down into different groups. For instance, you can work with the financial institutions right now and get a census of certain category of Nigerians and then begin to build it up like that. Use developmental, tools to be able to achieve your goal instead of us being driven by contracts and some big figure.
Thank you very much. This brings me to asking you before I take my next call about digital census. I mean, is Nigeria, why have we not, why can't we have a digital census? I mean, we have BVMs, we have NIN, we have so many things. I mean, is the commission looking at this?
Yeah, we're going to have a paperless census.
Good.
We're having a paperless census for Nigeria.
In 2022, does this mean that your staff would go around with computers, or that people can be captured through a digital platform? Maybe there's a website where you sign in with a unique identity code. Is that something that we're going to do?
Yeah, we're going to use the PDA, the handheld device, like a small computer. To do the census, yes.
Fantastic.
So we're not using paper again, just
right.
like what Kenya did in 2019.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
Hello. Yeah, my name is Peter. I want to thank your guest. She has done very well, and she actually exposed us, though he has tried to defend the government of the day and the past. Wemimo.
Yes, I'm with you.
And I see it very so funny that a House of Representative member, I know I watch it and I look at it. For how long do we remain in this wilderness? For how long? You have 28, you are targeting 30. I lived in the north for some time, and I've seen what is going on there. A farmer who have 30 children. What are you doing with just one? Imagine. Okay, now how do we get out from this?
So would you like the government to strictly give you a number of children you should have?
Of course, give it.
Yeah.
Lamino Sanusi, he had this problem. Why the reason why he was dethroned was this thing he mentioned in Kano. Let's get out of this thing.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much. So, that's my caller saying, you step it up a bit more rather than just saying, we'll leave it to be voluntary. Give us a number. Say all Nigerians should not, don't have, China did it. I know that they adjusted their child policy.
But I've explained to you that we attempted that in 1988 and how it backfired.
How exactly did it backfire? People didn't like it.
But I want to let you know that in our various demographic and health surveys conducted across the country, we realized that is the men desire for children is higher among men than women. So they are the cause of the problem.
Bam.
I remember when Mr. President presented the memo on this just approved launched policy to the Federal Executive Council. I remember the words of the Minister for Labor and Employment, Dr. Ngige. He said that the men are the cause of the problem, that they are the ones that compel women to always get pregnant and have children. He's a man and he was saying that. So men are the problem. Men are the problem. That is why in addressing family planning, the new thinking is targeting men.
Exactly. You know, I've asked this question about 3 times. So how exactly are we targeting men?
The men?
How?
Speaking to the men. We are now talking to the men.
We're just talking to them.
There is a program. There is an activity run by Federal Ministry of Health and other civil society NGOs to target men as well in addressing the issues of family planning. Because we know that there are men that if they discover, if their wife didn't take permission from them and she takes family planning, they will beat the hell, quarrel, threaten her out of home.
Okay, let me take a few more calls. Let me see if they agree with you.
Have many children.
It is the men that are making women have more children. Welcome, hello.
It is men. Men is the problem.
You agree, right?
I agree. I made the doom from Silver.
So what do we do to you guys now? What do we do? I mean, how do we make you reduce the number of children that you make women have or you give women to have?
Wemimo, I believe that our population must be checkmated. I also believe that Nigerian Population Commission is not doing enough. I believe also that it is education and awareness. You see, what I am not happy is that when Adodogua came up with his matter in the National Assembly, I expect him to be used as an example.
But everybody laughed. They laughed about it. Everybody laughed about it. And you know the interesting thing also, because of my time, is that there is no budget in the 2022. Please correct me. At least in the provisional budget as of last year, there was no provision for family planning. So is there now a provision for family planning in the 2022 budget? If we want to control population and we don't have a budget for family planning, how are we going to do it?
Well, when we talk to some people, we're told that actually is there but is embedded somewhere. So we need the Federal Ministry of Health to unravel where is that particular amount for family planning embedded in the Ministry of the Health budget.
It is
because
embedded.
Probably it was presented as an envelope. You know, usually the budget is presented as an envelope, and when it gets to the ministry, they will break it down, or the accountant general will break it down and tell you this is for this. Because during the World Population Day, I think it's during when we commemorated the Nairobi summit, the commitment we made in Nairobi in 2019 to bring down to achieve zero unmet needs for family planning. It was one of the 3. And that was when the budget came out and there were noise that there was no provision in the budget. I know the National Population Commission was one among those who raised the issue, who brought it to the fore that it is important that funding should be made available by the government to support family planning.
Because of my time, has your commission?
We are looking at Ministry of Health.
Have you written to the ministry? Have you written to
where
them?
That money is?
Have you written to the Ministry of Health?
And if it is not there,
have you written to the Ministry of Health?
That's what I'm saying. We are waiting for Ministry of Health to confirm that actually it's true that the money is somewhere. And if it's not somewhere, I promise you that the National Population Commission will lead advocacy to the government on the issue of providing funding.
I have another break coming up shortly. I need to go out in about 2 minutes. I want to take one more call before I jump off. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, well, no, good afternoon.
Make it quick for me, please. What's your name?
Yes, I disagree that men is the problem. Rather, woman is the problem. Why I say that woman is the problem?
Yeah.
This will change society in this level today. It will take you 2 days before you see a girl of 15 years to 50 years that is not having a baby.
Yeah, who impregnated them? They didn't get the babies themselves, you know.
But they are looking for this now. They are looking for this. If it is a married woman or family that needs children, the children the families are producing will not be over in this country today. It's because of unwanted pregnancy. All these young girls are collected because of money. This is why we have overcrowd today.
All right, thank you very much. A bigger issue that we need to expand will be Nigeria working on research to create contraceptives for men. I want to hear it happen so that we can totally, and after we have very few the only thing you think about when you talk about men is condom and maybe vasectomy, but for women we've got the options. But I really need to go now. I would be bringing you back on the show possibly on Monday to break some more tables, but I need to run out of the studio right now. I thank you very much for joining the show today, ma'am. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for creating this opportunity. We look forward to having more opportunity to talk to our people on the importance of having a quality population rather than quantity. So thank you very much.
I'll be in touch with you.
Grateful.
Thank you very much. To get it here once more time. All right, Nigeria, that's the show. That's Glass Ceiling. When I come back from the break and the news, let's talk about the fuel that you're buying, the bad quality of fuel that's in circulation that might just ruin your car. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. Don't go.